I think it's my pleasure to welcome Mrs. Charul Chaturvedi Jaitly, who is a co-founder and managing partner of Matiti Group, and she's also the winner of Mrs. UAE International. Ma'am Charul is a serial entrepreneur, endorses fearless and purposeful leadership, and is an unwavering optimist. So she, born in a small town in India, has now traveled to over 40 countries in the UK, is half Canadian, and has been a proud resident of UAE for over 17 years. Her recent victory winning the Mrs. UAE International pageant is just another example of her reliance and tenacity. Against all odds, she brought the crown home. On the other side of the table, she is a proud founder and managing partner of the business Matiti Group. Charul is also a passionate content creator and is an international public and motivational speaker. Without any wait, I would like to welcome Ma'am Charul, and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, all the speakers. Thanks, the Youth Council. Thanks, Vimal. It's a pleasure to be here. And to be honest, it's a subject which a lot of people like myself and everybody in this panel today have wanted to have, a way of voicing our opinion and experiences too. Because when it comes to child safety, and I have been following some of these speakers since morning, and I'm sure those who will follow now in the afternoon. I think we all resonate and we all agree that children or youth of any country, of any nation, or of this whole planet Earth are or is the most valuable resource, and that is our best hope for the future. There is no other way that we can expect to have the world that we have all dreamt of if we do not invest and if we do not create that awareness amongst the youth, amongst the children. And one of the critical factors when we talk about all of this in terms of our youth and the future of our nations and our beautiful planet is the safety, right? Because there could be some very strong ways of a certain culture, a community to move forward, but if we do not ensure the safety of the young ones who are being shaped for what comes next, I think there are big question marks around. And if we follow the news and something that I've been kind of noticing, there is awareness. I think it's not completely correct to say that the governments or the big corporates which run the social media handles around the world have not become aware or have not started to make some changes in the way they operate. However, so much more needs to be done. This cannot be something that goes on the back burner anymore. I don't know if you have seen or heard, there is this beautiful young 6-year-old Russian girl, a child, and I've just found out that she has 500,000 followers on Instagram. Incredible, I have to say, and I'm sure the parents and the community there are putting in measures and blocks in terms of how much access does she have to the social media and the account and so on and so forth. But there is that underlying challenge in terms of the comments that she's receiving, the presence of her as a 6-year-old vulnerable and innocent child on a camera, on a screen with millions of people following her and wanting to interact with her and leaving comments and things like that. So this is one example, and then on the contrast, there's another example where this was not too long back. I think it was a couple of weeks back. Matt Hancock, who's the culture secretary in the UK, he spoke about internet cannot be the wild west anymore, and if they want to invest in the future of the upcoming youth, the children, if not the adults, that things need to be put in perspective, and policies need to be let's say implemented, and if they're existing, they need to be revamped. And I think here there is a very important point that I wish to raise, which is There are many countries around the world, and I don't speak only on behalf of one culture, one nationality, but we are a global platform today with speakers from all around the world. I think there comes a time when, what we do and how we do needs to be reviewed and revamped, because relevance is the underlying factor. We can have many policies around a certain subject, but if these policies were made, when I was a 2-year-old girl, it does not apply to the kids who are 2-year-old or 20-year-old now. So I think just going beyond the lip service of saying, oh, as a nation or as a community or as a party, we have certain, boundaries defined in terms of, national policies, if not global policies on this agenda. There is a very glaring need for nations individually and for global community as a whole to come together and look at how relevant are these policies, and if these policies and these programs are sustainable. Because if we want to make a change, we make a change today, and then tomorrow, it becomes redundant with one little external environment change, then, it was not a sustained policy, or it was not a sustained change. So I think having those two key elements into everything we do as it pertains to child safety is going to be instrumental in how, the world moves forward. They say, we are in the age of metaverse, right? For those of you like myself, till a year or two back, I did not know what was metaverse. It's really, it's a 3D virtual world or a 4D virtual world where, you're focused on social connection, but it's like a virtual reality of connecting socially, right? And protecting children in this metaverse, it's phenomenal the amount of work that needs to be done. It's phenomenal the impact it is having on the youth of today and of the future. And to be honest, it's easy to just look at the tech companies and say, oh, they should stop growing, or they should stop coming up with new technology and new gadgets. I think that would be a bit harsh, because we live in a day and age where technology is the way to go, data is the way to go. That's the new money, right? And on the other side, me being an Asian child, one easy way in an Indian, let's say, household is to block access of kids to certain, programs. I know of friends, and this is not to, put the spotlight on a certain community or nationality, but I speak because that's my experience. And I'm sure the speakers will share theirs from the different backgrounds. But I know of families, young adults like myself who have kids, and they choose not to even have television. They don't give their kids internet access. I think controlling like that is perhaps not the right approach, because it's human psychology. The more you stop, the more the child wants to do it, right? It's about creating awareness around it. And if we start to create awareness amongst the youth on the importance, which is contextually for their own safety, I'm sure we will be in for a beautiful, beautiful surprise, right? I mean, we were looking at this report which came in from Bhopal, and this was a report which was published in Times of India in February. So, a fresh report, which was just a month back. And, this was, I think, from a research institute in Murdoch, where it says, the amount of suicides amongst the youth, this is children below the age of 18 years, has gone up phenomenally. And they spoke about 77% increase in mental health and suicide rates. This is one state, one very big state, I think the biggest in India, but that just gives us an idea. And if we use this as a sample for whatever reason, I think it's alarming. And we in India, we know that mental health issues or challenges and things like those are not a dinner table family conversation in a culture like an Indian community. Well, should it change that way? Should it be something that needs to be embedded in the culture of a family or of a country? Well, we're talking about hundreds of years of change, right? But if we have to nip it in the bud now, and if we have to address it as it happens now, I think, as much as it's a child's future, it's also the responsibility of the parents, right? So many different ways really of looking at it. And if we slice and dice it, I think each factor, external and internal to a children, plays a very important role in their safety, in their growth, and in their future. I, as a person, I, as a business owner, I, as a mentor, I, as a public speaker, I purposely pick on a lot of areas that kind of stitch the story around mental health as well. So let's explore this, right? When you talk about safety, right? For me, it is three levels, and of course, we can peel it up into many more layers. But looking at it very high level, right? It's three. It's physical safety, right? It's mental health and mental safety. And the third level, we can choose to call it whatever we want. Is it your inner self, your integrity, your sanity? And those are very personal. Those are very internal issues or challenges to a specific individual. What defines integrity for me could be very different to what defines integrity for my husband or my partner or at business or my friends, right? So I think there are many different ways in which this safety and security of a child, of the youth of today, needs to be looked and tackled. And one simple thing is, starting to create awareness, not just amongst, like I said, the children, but also all the elements around them that impact their safety. So is it universities? Is it the schools? Is it the immediate circle that they interact with on an ongoing basis, which is their friends, their teachers, their parents, and so on and so forth. The social media giants, right? They have a very important role to play. So really, it's about looking at things holistically. So going back to the three layers that I spoke about, the physical level of safety, the mental level of safety, and of course, the internal, integral, the core element of a child, of a youth, of you, me, everyone needs to be sanitized and kept intact. Because the reason I talk about all this is because safety is not a gadget, right? It's not a tangible thing. You don't go to a store and you say, I pay these many $1 million. Can you just ensure my safety? Well, some insurance company would like to say, pay me this much and I'll ensure your safety. But really, it is here. It is a state of mind. If somebody breaches someone's proximity physically, is also driven by the state of mind. So I offer some ways in which the physical elements of child safety, the mental elements, and also the integrity and the sanity of a child, how can it be sanitized and maintained? Well, physically, I think what is very important is creating those programs in the schools, universities, or whatever is their immediate circle of reference. Nowadays, a lot of kids, a lot of youth are online. The world is opening up, but I think we have a long way to go. And I think in those cases, starting to create awareness about mental health as a subject, having resilience, building internal resilience of an individual as a child in a college, university, I think is going to take them a long way. Mentorship programs, right? Because there are many times when you need not a subjective, but an objective opinion on things. You as a child might think, my parents have an opinion about me, or my teachers have an opinion about me, and you want to hear it and share it with somebody who does not know so much about you, or who can look at things from a different perspective, right? So mentorship programs. What I think is also very important, and I love my parents and the teachers, and I think they brought me up beautifully. But one thing that I've realized over the years is what I was not taught so much was about how to deal with failures. When we used to go for ceremonies at school, And I'd like to pat on my back. I was one of the top rankers in school and college. So every time I would go for the ceremony, my parents would say, when you come back with that award or that shield, we'll be waiting for you. We'll have a cake and we'll do the party. But not once was I told that if you do not get that shield or that trophy, and when you come back home, don't worry, this is how we celebrate not your failing, but your chance to grow more, or your opportunity to do things better the next time. So I think there needs to be a shift in how we educate our youth and children, from homes to schools to any other context, in helping them understand how to deal with failure, and for them to really understand that failing is a part of learning. When you fail, that doesn't mean that's the end of the road. If you look at the number of suicide rates, I touched upon it very briefly. It's saddening and it's alarming, and at the same time, it's a sign that we as a community need to come together and do things differently. Also, I think as individuals, right, whatever role you play in the society or in the corporate or your business world, I think it's important to look out for the signs. There are very glaring, early signs of a child going through a certain issue. If their safety has been breached in many more ways than one can imagine. So addressing it at the time and nipping it in the bud can prove extremely beneficial and phenomenal in terms of their chances to get out of it sooner. So as an organization, we practice and we implement many such measures. We have interns who are very young adults coming from universities, who are the future of the world. And we have policies and protocols and checks and balances in place, which help them leverage all of these things that I've spoken about, which is having objective listening, having mentorship program, learning how to deal with failures, having an objective listener to raising challenges that you face on a day-to-day issues. And the list goes on. At the emotional level, right, I think it's critical that there needs to be a way of expression for the child. Be it journaling exercises that are taught to them in school or in communities, be it expression in terms of an art, be it expression in terms of speaking, whatever it is, I think that needs to be brought out, that needs to be nurtured with a lot of care and love. And that will play a very integral part in helping them keep that emotional balance and understand that mental health for themselves, for a child, as they continue to grow and take up bigger challenges in life, is going to be extremely critical. And the one which is something that I learned very late in my life, but there's never a good time to start with the introspection and about touching on that inner elements of a child. And I think if they start doing things like breathing exercises in the morning, meditation. Now, there is of course a certain age when they can start and appreciate it. But in terms of getting them aware of these programs, giving them an option to explore this as a way of life at that very critical, very young age, I think can play a very, very important role as they grow up into adults. And in my closing remarks, I would just like to say, when I go around and talk at different events, when we talk about just the physical measures, so governments, they talk about investment in programs, corporates, they talk about rolling out a policy and how much it would cost them, and I always tell them, safety is it isn't expensive, it's really priceless. And there is no price tag that you can put to the safety of the youth, of the children, of the future of our countries, nations, and the world at large. And I think there was never a better time. There's never better awareness amongst us as leaders, amongst us as decision makers, as influencers, as policymakers around the world, to bring this from the back burner to the front and start to take bold steps in the right direction, so we can create or pave a way for our youth where they know that they have a beautiful, a sustainable, and a thriving society and a world for them to build their lives in. So on that note, I'll take a pause, and if there's anything that you wish to discuss or ask, I'm happy to answer. Hi, Indra. Anybody here? Yeah.
Anybody here to ask Ma'am Charul for any questions? Okay, if not, thank you so much, ma'am. It was very nice talking about mental health. And I think when there are so many organizations, so many speakers coming up, talking about just physical measures, policies, and other educational systems, it was very happy to see somebody who spoke about mental health as one of the safety measures. And I think it's not late any time to learn about something new. It might be meditation or your
Absolutely.
breathing exercise. It's not really late, and it really touched me when you said that. It actually I felt very complete when you mentioned saying that it's very important to celebrate failure as much as you celebrate the winning. So I think that's something we all should. I think we should take that statement home. And and thank you so much for mentioning both the physical as well as mental elements of safety measures for children. And also one thing which made me think twice was what we do and how we do has to be rewind at some point. So I think when if we apply to everything on a daily basis, I think that should really go well. And thank you so much for mentioning that we do not have that family conversation when it comes to mental health in most of the Indian communities. I think slowly, steadily, we are improvising on it. But
Yeah.
soon, someday, it's going to be great. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. And I'm excited, and I'm actually thrilled that, we have so many, thought leaders from around the world who are coming together on this platform talking about this issue. Like I said, this is priceless. And the more we talk about it, the more awareness we create, the better for our society. So thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you, ma'am.